up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're working on a race car today, the Mustang. Uncle Mike, I should call him Dr. Mike. He's making house calls. Y'all didn't realize he made house calls, but I didn't either. But he's here. Him and his brother Scott are here finishing the other header on the car to get our timeline with what we got to do to get it to wiring next week. We needed to finish this header. I've got most of the tools, but he's doing it kind of in a redneck way. We don't have all the proper tools here, but it's going to work. It's going to be okay. Let me show you what else we got going on. I've made some progress on the car. Still got a lot to do between now and next Saturday. Comment, like, and subscribe. Go to turbojohnracing.com if you want to support the channel. Appreciate it, guys. All right, guys. So when we say limited supply, that's what I'm talking about. So Mike's got the side grinder, and he's making it work. Him and his brother's welding it, and he's doing all the fit work. And essentially, this header fit good. It was the up and forward kit from like Amazon. But this one he was able to modify, but the other one really wasn't going to fit. Mike, how are you doing? Are you having fun? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Friday night. Friday night. So they got one side, 1-2 mocked up here. So that's going to go, like I was saying, it's going to go on the outside of this. We're going to use that for our oil drain. I welded this in the other night. Our fuel cell is going to be here. I started running the wires or the fuel lines. So we got this mostly done. We're going to have to get a bracket or something for this. But what we got to do now also, while they're working on the header, I've got to swap the fuel pump. And when I say swap the fuel pump, this is an Enderley belt drive. And essentially what happens is when you have it turned the opposite way with a belt, it spins one way, and then when you do a cam drive, you have to rotate it. So basically it's pretty easy. I'll show you the instructions here. It's pretty basic though. You can see basically all I gotta do is take these bolts loose, turn this 180 degrees so this point's over here, and then now this is reverse flow and it will be set. So let me do that real quick. I'll loosen those up, very easy, and that thing just turns and then we're gonna be set. I got the brake pedal stuff mounted, so that is good. I got the stuff to do the brake lines mostly. I decided what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use soft line. When I say soft line, I mean the braided -3. I'm gonna use that stuff to get through here because I did some flaring and some hard brake line up at the cylinder here, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt. I got some good flares on it. That was not too bad, but we wanted to just I want to make it a little easier to do. So my initial plan was to do this and then run the hard line up through there somehow. No, that was the wrong way. It was this way, but that fitting like that, I don't remember. So, anyway, I scratched that idea, and I've ordered some of this All-Star #3 braided line. I think it's going to make it go a little easier. So to get it ready for next week, essentially, we got some stuff we got to do. The header, what they're doing today. I've got to have the fuel system done. I've got to have all the fuel lines run. I've got to have the elbow on it. I got to have the throttle body on it. I got to have my switch panel installed, so I'm going to put a switch panel up here. I'm going to get a piece of firewall to go ahead and go over there on that side. I don't know where Austin is going to want to mount all his wiring stuff and mount the ECU, so we got a lot of work to do. We got to get the shock sensors. I'm going to have 2 shock sensors. I'm going to put one. I'm not going to do 4. A lot of people do 4-corner, but I'm not going to do 4-corner. We'll just do 2. I've got a dry shaft I got to wire up, which he'll do all that, but I got to put the sensor on it. I got to put the ride height sensor in the front, the Mad Racing laser ride height, the wheelie sensor. So we got a lot to do. Making progress though. All right, guys, Uncle Mike and Scott got the header mostly done. What he done is he fitted 2 tubes up, and since we don't have all the proper equipment at my home shop, getting the the fit and finish to where the edges are nice and tight, I don't have a belt sander. So he's got the collector where it's supposed to be, and so he's going to take it home, finish it up, and I'll grab it next week. Appreciate Uncle Mike and Uncle Scott coming out and helping out with the race car stuff. It's fun stuff, man. Check it out. Hang on. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap it up tonight. We are mostly done with the header. Well, basically, I'm done with the header. When he comes back, I'm going to meet him later this week. He'll have the header done. Fuel cell is in its permanent home. We just got to bolt it down. So once we bolt this down, that's going to be where we're going to be setting this. I did have to order another feed line. Right now, we're using a number 12 that goes from the tank up to the pump. It is a little bit uphill, but the front end on this one should be about right here. So we ought to be in good shape with how far forward it is. Hopefully that's fine, especially with it being so low. I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay. It's possible the headlights might be like up in this area, but that's so far down, we should be good. Bungs coming to go ahead and weld bungs on this. So that's going to be number 16 stuff on that. Once we weld those on, we'll permanently put the valve covers on, bolt those down. Man, we got a lot to do. There's a lot to do. All right, guys, we are making some progress out here. Very slow roll, but we have the switch panel mounted up here now. The way we did it this time is we got these roll bar weight mounts. Had a bunch of those left over. Just basically mounted it to that. Pretty secure, nice and stable, real secure. We got some zippy ties, running the wires over on that side. The fuel cell is now permanently mounted. It is in its home. So basically what we did is I welded tabs on to the chassis here. I welded this bar in. It's got tabs on it. So the sheet metal, this is aluminum sheet plate. It's pretty thick, 1/8 inch thick, I think it was. So the fuel cell is mounted now to the front, and it is nice and secure, so that's not going to go anywhere. The reason I did it like this is, I don't know if y'all remember in the past, we did have some fuel cells that were cracking when we were trying to just let these tabs support all the weight. So what I did when we got to Saturn, I thought it was a good idea. We'll put a piece of sheet metal, piece of plate steel down, and instead of the weight hanging, we'll let the weight sit down on that piece of flat steel, and it's secure, and hopefully the welds will hold up and stay secure. So up here, like I said last night, we got the fuel pump done, so that stuff's done. So now what I'm about to work on, we talked about this a little bit, is drive shaft enclosure. And you can see right now there's a bunch of bars. There's the rules are met, and I feel safe as far as containment of the drive shaft. The drive shaft, if it breaks, it's not going anywhere. There's a lot of bars. There's a lot of stuff there that's going to protect us. You can see my leg is real close to this U-joint area though. So anytime you have exposed stuff, you want to have something in case the U-joint fails, in case the drive shaft does come loose. Normal cars have sheet metal across it. Now that thin sheet metal in the floor, you know, you see it all the time. It'll come right through that thin sheet metal. So I was just doing some research. It looks like we need about 50 thousandths. If you buy the tunnels, if you buy a sheet metal tunnel, 50 thousandths is about what it is, 18 gauge steel. Chromoly is what I'm going to try to find. I'll try to get some of that, and if I can't get some of that, I'll just get some regular sheet steel. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to enclose from, I might go all the way to this point here. I hadn't decided yet, but basically I got to get, you figure the U-joint's going to be about right here. It's going to be just a little bit in front of this bar. So I want to protect all that. So I'll probably just cut it so that it goes in this square here, and then I'll probably go all the way back to the back there too. And I may go ahead and stick another bar too, just to, I don't know if I need it necessarily, but right now is be the easiest time to do it, is put a bar in between here and back there as well. I don't know if I can do that or not. I may do it, I may not. I may just coat it with sheet metal. Most of the time, I mean, like I said, I mean, we've got it enclosed here and it's enclosed in the back. Usually in the middle, you don't have all of that. So usually it's just steel. So it'd probably be fine just to steel it in. But I am going to weld it in. Basically, I'm going to just take it and I'm going to get the perfect size here. And I'm going to weld the steel in right here. Was thinking about doing the Tin Soldiers tray. But I think it'd be easier and better and more secure and safer for me if I do have a drive shaft enclosure, if that is actually welded on there. And then if it's welded on there, hopefully it'll help contain the bits and pieces. I mean, at some point we're going to get a carbon fiber drive shaft, And carbon fiber drive shafts, when they explode, they have shards going everywhere, so you still want to contain it. Steel drive shafts or aluminum drive shafts, they really beat up and move around a lot. And you got to think, if you're going 150 mile an hour, 160 miles an hour, drive shaft comes loose. If it breaks back here at the back, then it's not that big a deal. It just falls down. If it breaks up here at the front somewhere and it disconnects, then as you're slowing down, the rear end is going to be turning that thing. So it's going to be bouncing in there, and it's going to be causing a lot of havoc in between those double frame rails. So that is going to be, it's going to need to be contained. The bars, I'm pretty sure, like I said, will contain it, but I want to make sure that the bits and pieces and the U-joints, things like that, are not flying out and hitting me. So I'm going to take the seat out real fast, go ahead and start measuring that. I don't know if I can grab any of that metal today, but I can go ahead and start cleaning to get ready to weld those in. All right, hang on. All right, guys, well, we got mostly this one right here welded in. It's about 3/4 around. I can't get the very, very bottom because of the sheet metal in the bottom. I think it'll be fine. Maybe later we'll take that sheet metal down under the bottom. Let's just pop rivet it on, and then we'll get it welded from underneath. Although 3/4 of the way is probably fine for what we're doing, because it is, like I said, it's got this one up here, and it's got plenty of protection, I think. And we're about to give it even more. So I'm about to go to the hardware store. And I think I'm gonna get some 14 gauge. 14 gauge is a little over 60 thousandths thick. I know it's a little heavier, but we're gonna definitely box this one in, and the top all the way back, and then we're gonna do the sides on my side, and probably maybe like halfway down on the other side. Or maybe we won't do the other side. I need to think about that. We might not have to do the other side. I mean, if the drive shaft's contained, if it goes out, if there's any pieces that go out that way, it's probably better to contain that side too. So yeah, we'll probably contain it all. So we're about to add some weight. You know, it's just one of the things that sucks when you try to make it super, super light. Luckily the weight will be in the middle of the car in the back, but we definitely want to protect ourselves against drive shaft issues. So once we get that done, we're going to move over to the brakes. Actually, I may go ahead and do the brakes now and go ahead and do that later. So I'm gonna go ahead and bleed the brakes. Like I said, this is a Wheelwood kit. Got it from Speedway. It does not have the Wheelwood. It's got AFCO master cylinders on it. I'm gonna use .3 fluid. If you look at TBMs, they say .3 or .6. .5 is kind of confusing because .5 apparently has silicone in it, unless you get TBM's .5. So I think you can use .3 or .6, I think is what it was saying. But I'm going to use .3. DOT3, just regular O'Reilly brand. We got to bench bleed this. So essentially what we do, we're going to do these lines here. So we're going to pour fluid in it, and then we'll hook our number 3 lines up here, and I'm going to just dump it back into the top. And then we'll just pump it, and it'll get the fluid there all the way out to the end, so that just there's no airlock in here before we do the rest of the lines. All right, let's go ahead and get started on that. All right, guys, well, I am spent. I am tired. It doesn't seem like we got a lot done, but this is the little stuff that takes forever. I did decide, I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and do all braided line. We got these lines down here. We got two 24-inch ones coming off the rear end. A couple people said they thought I had these upside down. They're not. That is the bleeder up top, and the connection is down on the bottom. So that's the way you want to do that. So we got soft lines coming in this way, connecting each one, and then we got soft lines going to come up, and then I've got the braided line that's going to come down, just using the All-Star line. It's going to be a little longer. I could do it in the solid steel stuff, or but man, I don't know. I've got the stuff to do this, but it is a pain in the butt. And you got to flare. You got to do all that stuff. It's a double flare. I actually got halfway decent at the double flare, but I don't want to do it. I want to do it in the brake line, in the wavy line, the soft line, the brake line, whatever you call it. So I'm not going to bleed these yet. That's going to mount there. So these are up out of the way. It's basically going to run across the dash bar, go down. Be the other, this is at full travel. So this one basically is going to join in like right here, and we've got plenty of room, not hitting anything, and it's out of the way also of my feet. So if he's gonna go to the hardware store, we're gonna get some metal, and probably tomorrow I'll probably start working on welding in the metal on top over there, and hopefully that'll get that encapsulated. Like I said, we made a lot of progress. We got a lot done. Zippy tie, Courtney will be very happy about my zippy tie work over there. We've also got to decide, we got to get with Austin where he's going to mount everything. I think we're going to need to put the firewall stuff in. Got a battery mount off of Amazon. My Go Lithium battery should work in this. But I'm going to eventually get one of those full spectrum powers. So we're going to have to mount this somewhere over here. The way Mike did this floor, he angled it up, and that's awesome. He got the center down lower. We're trying to work on airflow. Me and him have some good conversations last night on what we're going to do with some airflow stuff. This can be mounted, anywhere. Probably what I'll do is I'll weld me a couple tabs off of this spot right there. That looks like a good spot for a battery. We got to figure out where we're going to do our CO2 bottles at. CO2 bottles are going to go somewhere too. It's got to be kind of within reach. Actually, I'm probably going to get Motion Raceworks. I need to find out. They've got a bottle bracket that fits 2.5 pound bottles. Mine's a 5 pound bottle, so I need to see if that Motion Raceworks bottle bracket will work. Right here would work perfect for the CO2 bottle. It's right there in reach. So if we do that there, and then maybe do the battery tray like right here somewhere, somehow. And we could put it up front. We want to have as much weight as possible back here in the back. So this is a pretty neat little. Yeah, that's what we're going to. We gotta figure all this stuff out. This is stuff we gotta do. All right, guys. Well, we are done for the night. Comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see y'all soon. Later.